Yep. It's all Usher's fault. Hi,
It
folks.
is.
Oops. Sorry. Welcome back. Didn't realize we clicked record. Oh,
my God.
Heather. Oh,
Miranda.
it's so good to take a deep breath with you here.
I know.
Here today now, folks.
Mhm.
I know we already talked about this, but I'm going to mention it for the
mention it
sake
again.
of the purpose of what we're getting together for today, the podcast.
Yes.
It's been heavy. This has been a heavy time for me, but as I was telling you, there's like nothing specific to point at. There's just been sort of an underlayer of heavy, and I think not like, when I say heavy, I don't necessarily mean dread or like stuck in the feels of Pisces season, but more just like there's been just simply a weight in general to Pisces season. And for me, it's been very like fire under the assness. It's been very creatively charged.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if you agree or not, but holy shit. I just like, yeah, it's nice to be here and kind of relax.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I feel like I've been dealing with the same thing. And I have been thinking back to like past Pisces seasons, and I'm thinking like, I feel like this isn't like always how I feel during Pisces season. Like, it is like usually a dreamy kind of like, I want to take a break and just, imagine my ideal life. But my theory is that because Saturn is moving into Pisces literally next week.
Ooh.
After, it hasn't been there since 1996.
Wow.
And we are in the midst of our Saturn return. Saturn was in Pisces when we were born, and you have Pisces sun. Saturn is literally right over my sun in Aquarius right now, because my sun is the last degree of Aquarius, so it's going to move into Pisces. So I've been feeling the same thing. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's not like anything has fallen through the cracks. It's not like there's been this thing coming from the universe that is like, get your shit together, Heather. It's more just like, I feel like I need to take my responsibilities seriously. And it is like a sort of anxious feeling, but a good one too, because I think,
and like I think we talked about this before too, Heather. Whenever I was auditioning in college for a theater something or other, I was always like, I wish I could like combat these nerves. Like I wish I could get ahead of my nerves. Like if I wish the nerves weren't so bad, and like then I could just, like I'm already thinking about it in stress, but it's one thing to just like be in this state of like, ugh. And then I forget who specifically, I think it was a specific professor in theater who brought it up, but like not one of ours, just like it was at like maybe a forum or something. But the whole idea was like that they were talking about was nerves just mean you care. Like it's like the body sometimes doesn't recognize, right, with like its flight or flight. Nerves sometimes feel like anxiety and dread and like a scary feeling. Also, though, nerves can, or they can create that feeling of anxiety, but usually the reason you have the nerves is from a place of caring about it, right? You don't want to bomb the audition. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be nervous, right? So when I started understanding where those nerves were coming from a little bit, I was like able to work a little bit more with them. Like I'd still get them. It didn't really stop them from coming, because again, I never stopped like caring about an audition. But like learning how to work with them and using that energy for my audition, just being like, oh, you care about this. Isn't that something? Look at you, Karen.
Yeah.
And now, since you care about it so much, wouldn't it be awesome to like do well and get the part, or, like lead with that energy? And I think something can sort of be said about this time too, with Saturn returning to Pisces. It's just really a powerful sort of like, I think those nerves, exactly what you describe, I've been feeling too. Like sort of this just like underlying anxiety, not from anything specific. I can't quite put my finger on it, but also creatively feeling very charged right now.
Yes.
And I feel like the two are very much hand in hand. And just that reminder of like, oh, I think what's coming to the surface for me right now are a lot of things I care about. This is Pisces season, where passions are at the forefront, the things that really matter to us. do get a chance to be right at the surface, right in our peripherals, right? Like in our foregrounds of our minds this time, not just on the back burner. Some days now, like not just this idea of like, oh, these incredible dreams I have. Like, I just feel like this time is really like, hi, remember these dreams you have? We're bringing them to the forefront. Let's get to like we talked about this. And real quick, before I go further, I just want to introduce the fabulous, incredible Heather Cunningham, folks. She's an Aquarius star, a gosh darn queen. We love her. An astrology nerd, respectfully.
Yes.
Basically studying her whole life. All right. Don't get caught up in the degrees of her certifications just right now. Ask us afterwards. Yeah. And it's me, Miranda Lenski, your little Pisces sun, the opposite of Little Miss Know-It-All.
One of my favorite people.
Stop that, Heather. You heard what the queen said. You heard what the queen of astrology said. Bow to me, you pagans.
Yes, everyone.
This was a Pisces, you pagans. That's so funny. I think I might start using that as a new insult.
You pagans. I know. Pagan, I love that.
Without Christ. But then I'm like, oh, what if someone like, believes in it in that way? We digress. Let me not get into it.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Yeah, I we're on my little astrology journey. Thanks for tuning in. If you've been feeling the feels, welcome to Pisces season. We'll hop back to it. But
yeah.
Please, Heather. Sorry.
Oh,
I forgot. I forgot what I was saying, but go on.
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, I feel like for people too who tend to already think about existential things like on a daily basis. Yes. Pisces season holds a lot of weight. Yeah. Especially right now with Saturn about to enter Pisces. I feel like I feel like a lot of my friends are going through it too.
Yes. The vibes have been a little like wonky or like, and I don't want to say like off because again, I don't think it's a negative thing what we're feeling, but it's definitely not cozy or it's definitely, there's a feeling to be felt, if that makes sense. And I think that's been what's so like confusing about it is because I'm like, I'm not dreading, I'm not in the depressy dumpies. I'm not like, which I've been before. I'm not like super anxious, but there's like just an overall sort of a vibe, like a lower, like just a heavier feeling in the overall air. And it could be that everyone's sort of on this vibration of really sort of like honing in and really like focusing. And it's funny, as we were talking about this, Heather, I know that before the podcast, we were saying like Pisces gets this rep. I remember what I was going to say now. Pisces sort of gets this rep of being like head in the clouds, la la land, like spacey. Pisces is in Dreamville. Yeah, like Dreamville, spacey. Right. But I think what we're experiencing right now, especially with Saturn on its way to returning to Pisces, I think sort of what this experience more brings about, at least for me, and maybe I'm just doing this because I am a Pisces, but it's more of like, it's been really interesting to feel almost like a responsibility or like a crackdown on like next moves of making these dreams a reality. It's always like Pisces gets the rep of having the dream part, but not so much like the down to earth reality. It's really interesting being in this Pisces time and feeling quite opposite. Like, if anything, I haven't been thinking about the things I really need to do for my creative endeavors more and how I need to go about them and what moves need to be made. And it's really, go ahead. Yeah, please talk about that.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just I feel like that is so Saturn moving into Pisces. I mean, Saturn gets a bad rap for being the opposite and like being too nose to the grindstone, too like, putting so much pressure on yourself that it's actually like a downfall. But the positive side of Saturn is that it does channel that like discipline and that feeling of like, I care about this and I'm going to be responsible about it. And I'm going to, it also likes to bring form to things. It's earth ruled. It needs to make things tangible, physical, real. So yeah, I think that's that really we're feeling this.
Yeah, we fucking are. Well, that's why I said to you too, I was like, I'm just so surprised I feel this like earthy pressure in the middle of like Pisces. But as you say, the same thing. Like the transits, y'all, it's almost like you can't make this shit up. I can't be clear. And we're in Pisces season, so I get to be super fucking spiritual. And I've been having random spiritual conversations with like not, it's not like I've been scheduling these. They've just truly kind of come about, and it's not even like I've been like, it's Pisces season. Like it's truly just sort of been like these natural these, it's like one-on-one deep conversations about existentialism and like my, as scary as that shit can be sometimes for like my brain, my heart absorbs it. And I just love connecting with, there's nothing I love more than connecting with another human and being like, isn't this shit crazy?
I know.
And
no,
like,
literally.
we technically don't know what happens at the end, but
I know.
we're still out here believing and hoping. Like, there's a beauty to it. And
no,
like,
it's so beautiful.
And yeah, I've just, it's so funny how those, I didn't even think about them at the time, for the fact that we're, in this Pisces season, and that I happen to come across these spiritual combos.
Yeah. No, I'm literally watching. I can't agree more. And this just popped in my head that I literally have plans with my roommate Jake to watch Pocahontas tonight. And yeah, no, and like we've been doing this thing where we like are into watching like Disney Channel movies and things, like stories that are very like archetypal. And
I love
Liz Green, shouts out
God
Liz Green, the astrologer. She is very
the Virgo
into
of our hearts.
The Virgo, yes, opposite Pisces, relevant right now. So she is very into myth and linking myth to astrology, and there is, a lot of astrologers, there is a connection with that. But I remember in one of her books, she said, it would be valuable to think about the first fairy tale or the first myth or the first, like in our case it's usually like a Disney Channel movie that tugged at you, that like really like resonated with you, like when you're like 5 years old, like what was the story that connected to you, because it probably says something about your soul's journey, about what you value, about like what your story is in life. And Pocahontas was my favorite, and I've been really excited to revisit it because I think, from what I remember, I'm watching it tonight, but from what I remember, it's really fucking spiritual, right?
Yeah,
it's all about like
Grandmother
she knows
Willow.
that she sees
Heather,
things others don't.
Emotional. Like, as you were saying that, I'm like, oh my God, is mine Little Mermaid? Because I've always been a little fish. But no, I think Pocahontas, I think I was Pocahontas for 2 years in a row. I was obsessed with Pocahontas. And you are right. There's like Grandmother Willow and like Native Americans in general. It's such a beautiful thing that like they're the oldest people in terms of like this nation and like this country. And we brought, Western culture and the way like religion, or excuse me, Eastern culture. What am I trying to say? Just like the way before religion was really here, Native Americans weren't going to like church. The way their spiritualism was very much about nature.
Yes.
And through the star, it just like that minimalistic like. And I find it a beautiful thing how like spiritual Native Americans are, how much spirit, like in terms of spiritualism, when you study it today, how much of it is still connected to Native Americans, and like just even still today. But like it's really, it's a beautiful thing to think about. And Pocahontas by nature, I think, yes, is spiritual, but then also you got Grandmother Willow in it, and it's very much a Pisces movie. It's kind of funny that you're going to be watching it in Pisces season, because it's very
really
much
excited.
like, you look at me, like I think the line like, you think I'm an ignorant savage, and like it's literally like, bitch, you're showing up with your guns and your boys.
What the fuck? Like, don't you get that we're all connected? Like she's like,
my Pisces ass wants to scream this like 27 times a day. Like, I'm just like,
literally.
Or like when someone's talking about someone and they just lack this like empathy. And I'm truly not one of those people who goes around being like, I'm an empath. But like, because I just think, to me, I'm like, oh God, imagine saying you're not that. Like, I'm just kind of like, just say you're not human. I don't know. I know it's more in depth than that. But like, when people can't understand walking in someone else's shoes, I can't understand them less. Like, I cannot understand not like using your humanity to think about you in that situation, like, or just like, and what you would do and how you would go about it in terms of like trying to understand other people. Anyways, the whole messaging of Pocahontas, very Pisces. Love that.
Right. Yeah. So
shouts out to Liz Green. I love that.
Shout out to Liz Green. Oh my God.
We love that inner child work.
Yeah. She like, it's funny. She's a Virgo, but her writing really is very Pisces. Like
Mhm.
I wouldn't have gotten into spirituality if it wasn't for
For Liz
astrology
Green.
and if it
Oh,
wasn't for Liz Green
yes.
and if it wasn't for my mom before that. It was
Right.
like, but yeah, no, I mean, like when I first got into it, I was like, I don't believe in God. And then I like read Liz Green's books and I was like, oh wait, shit, this makes sense.
I don't believe in God in the sense and how I've been taught it in that
Right.
whacked, fucked up situation that was church. Exactly. Because I had the same, like, we've talked about this before, Heather, but like, I think my Pisces-ness made me have like very, like, I wasn't trying to have these thoughts. This is not a flex. I really just think like my brain went to sort of these profound extremes all the time.
Right.
Just because there was no other option. That's just how it like operated. And I think like if you're maybe talking to another Pisces, it would be like totally know what you mean. Like you just are existentialist.
Yeah. No, yeah.
It's unfucking real. And so every minor decision was always from a bigger, and sometimes I think it's maybe too big, and it is, we don't always need to view in that scope, right? But 9 times out of 10, I'm grateful I view in that scope. And I think a lot more people, the older and older we get, it seems to me that more and more people view life through sort of that same lens.
Yeah.
Which when I'm describing that lens, I think there's almost a third eye to Pisces.
Yeah.
Anyways, and I think to like just being in this season right now, more listeners, if you're feeling the existentialism, if you're just feeling the passionate shit in general, I think a lot of muck is coming to the surface, but I think it's also a beautiful time to remind yourself of what really fucking matters to you, because Pisces will show it to you. She's unforgiving in that way, and we love her for it. But
no, that's true. And when they say when Saturn enters a new sign, it's very like, and especially with the Saturn return, it sort of dissipates what's not necessary. And it's like this natural inclination to like figure out what your priorities are, like what is meaningful to you on like a soul level, and like everything else kind of naturally falls away. I think when Saturn enters Pisces, there's going to be some of that, like whatever leaves, because Pisces also deals with loss. All the water signs kind of deal with this, like, yeah, the water signs are very, it's like about I think like clinging in one sense and also letting go. And like, I don't know, maybe there's something to that about just emotions. Like
you can't let them go until after you sort of cling and feel them.
Yeah, there's a like cyclical process. Or
yeah, I think it's and I think right, like water gets the reputation for being emotional. People say that shit as if they don't have emotions, or as if we're not supposed to, or as if feeling them. What I love the most about people who or that like that sort of that phrasing, as if feeling them is remotely optional. Like people who are like, I suppress. I'm like, for like, yeah, like maybe you are like, you don't think there's ever gonna be, just because you suppress something, oh, you cracked the code. You figured out how to opt out of the human experience while still like walking around in your meat bag. No. To act like I don't feel emotions is like, that is such a red fucking flag to me, because all that means is like you're a ticking bomb for when you finally do.
Literally.
And I like, again, I think this, I may be sounding a little defensive as a water sign, but it's like, to me, it's like water signs just lead with like, there's no folder to file that away into. It's like the emotion, it's just, there is no option but to feel it. And I also, though, that's like, yeah, water signs can have a reputation for being emotional, but again, we're talking about something that every sign must go through. It's not an option. It literally is part of it. So
yeah,
I always found that kind of funny, that like, oh, the water signs are like kind of healthy in the way they express themselves. Gross. It's kind of like, the water signs are leading by example. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
And I don't think every water sign maybe does that in the healthiest way. I don't think every sign does it in the healthiest way. I think we all have something to learn from each other. That's like the idea, right? But like, yeah, to me, it's always like, you understand, as a Virgo, you still have to feel that shit, just because you know what I mean? Not to shit on the Virgos. But
no, absolutely. But do you feel like Cancer and Scorpio, in your experience from like, from those two signs, do you feel like they I don't know. I don't know a ton of Cancers and Scorpios, to be honest, but
Right.
I do feel like they want to repress. Like, to me, Pisces has always been like, oh, they feel immediately and
That's
they
why they
have
turn to
no
the drugs.
problem. Yeah, no, literally. Like,
Pisces is like, I gotta smoke this
I
because
I can't
we're
repress.
going into feeling, and I can't. There's no off button for me. Help.
Yeah, repress,
Whereas
so I'll
Cancer's
escape.
like, I need to smoke this because I'm suppressing this. Like, I think, yeah. So or go ahead, Heather. Sorry.
Oh, and I was
Finish,
just gonna add, I think
finish
that
your question.
they obviously do feel very intensely, and I think that they do feel at a certain point, but it's almost like, in my experience, I feel like Pisces can't help but feel in the moment, and
Yeah.
Scorpio and Cancer can sort of like put it off for a bit.
Yes, I would 100% agree. So, like, yes, to clarify, I think it's more of like, or, Cancer and Scorpio might feel that shit in the moment, but they do have ways and tools and mechanisms to make it seem like they haven't. Whereas I feel Pisces, like, does not have
There's
that.
yeah.
They can't, like, it's just full transparency. Which is just kind of hilarious. Or like, yes, it's like there is it's emotion processing immediately, like it's filed. It's like filed away in this way of like, it's just very quick. Whereas yes, I feel like Cancer can be, but on the kind of flip side of that, I feel like Cancer is that same sign that's maybe like, no, yeah, it's fine. And then on the inside, they're like screaming. Whereas a Pisces will be kind of like, no, yeah, it's fine. Actually, listen, I don't know.
Tears are coming out of my eyes.
And then a Scorpio is going to be like, and they're already going down the list of ways they're going to murder you and your loved ones. But like, and then Cancer is like breaking on the inside. I just think Pisces is like, it's fine. No, I mean it. Like, it's like you don't. So it is, again, like, I think it's more of like their emotions and feeling them are more at the forefront. I think in terms of expressing them, those three signs could not be more different from each other, if that makes sense. But I do think in terms of being in tune with them, maybe sort of like knowing where they're coming from, why, understanding like their emotional side more. I do think Cancer, and I think I think Scorpio understands why they feel things, but also because of that, it's a huge reason Scorpio can relate to other signs. I think the water signs, a huge way in which they relate to other signs is like putting them in, like putting themselves in their other shoes, or understanding like, oh, this person's feeling this emotion in a way that I totally understand that feeling.
Yeah.
Water signs are usually the ones that it's like, a lot of my water sign friends are also the ones of their friend group that's like, everyone goes to me to talk to me about stuff. And I'm like, see, this is why the water signs are important.
No, they're
just like the air signs are very important to me.
Right.
To keep me grounded.
Same.
I have to help the earths tap into their flow.
I know.
You gotta take a dip every now and then, folks.
You gotta.
Don't be afraid of the beach. But yeah, like I would agree with you that I think the way that their emotions are expressed, absolutely different. But in terms of those signs, all processing sort of from and through emotion. Not to say that fire signs also don't do it, but again, whereas I think fire signs, when emotional, 9 times out of 10, the emotion is expressed as like anger, or
it's quick. It's like rapid passion. Whereas
it's shoot from the hip, like responses. It's very knee-jerk reactions in terms of like, because I feel like fire signs, when they are emotional, whereas like a water sign being emotional is like, I know that that this won't be the case. I'm going to process this. I'm going to cry it out. And here I go. Whereas a fire sign is like that. It's almost the resistance to the emotion. It's like, I'm fire. What the fuck? And then, so it's like a very like, whatever fire can do to escape it, I think is sort of like the route. I'm not sure what air's mechanism is as much.
Air intellectualizes, air overthinks and intellectualizes and is like, I'm feeling this way. That's weird. Let me think about that. Let me psychoanalyze.
You're so right. Air's like, thank you for saying that. I'll be back. And then like exits for like a few days or weeks and is like, like taking their sweet time. I had an air sign friend once tell me they witnessed me get very emotional and find out or they've not, I found out, but I think they found out like, oh, that's her Pisces side, or like I haven't seen her Pisces go to that range, I think. They found out real quick, but like they just saw me get really, this was like years ago in high school, I want to say, and like not my prouder days, and definitely my more immature Pisces, definitely more when I was maybe in tune with my Aries undertones, like wasn't handling feeling the strong emotions well. And my air sign friend like watched me like call someone up to like essentially like verbally let them know as loud and effective as I could. And it was high school, so I was like, I'm really gonna throw the cuss words out there.
Yes.
Because like I'm an adult and can use them.
Right.
And after like I hung up, and my friend was just like, the way I would have kept that in, like you immediately found that out and called them. And I was like, yeah, I wanted to get to the bottom of it. Wasn't my business to sit alone with that information.
Oh my God.
Wasn't my business to carry all that weight by myself. Like, it's almost like because that weight would have been so heavy that I'm like, oh no, they're gonna feel, I was like, this person's gonna feel exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
It was so funny because my friend was like, it would have taken me years to ever like admit I knew about that, or like it would have just taken me like, it was just so funny to understand like the difference, because I'm like, I couldn't have like it was like a high school, if I feel like I'm explaining this story so poorly, Heather, but it was like a high school boyfriend that not even a boyfriend, but like a boy that I found out was like talking to someone else. And my friend from class like is the one who told me, and she was there when I like called them to confront them about it. And it was like the way she was like, I would have taken that to my grave. And I was like, or like played it cool like I never knew. I was like, absolutely not. They will immediately know I'm hurt.
I find that
they're
inspiring.
The reason why.
Like, I know you're saying like it was high school and that
I might
you
not
weren't
be
at your most mature,
today,
but like I don't know, as an Aquarius who really has trouble with confrontation, and like even when I'm hurt by something, it's like impossible for me to like state that and express that. I find that inspiring. Jeez.
Oh my God, Heather. It's so funny that you feel like for yourself, you aren't the most expressive, because like I find that you, in a lot of the ways that your Aquarius does manifest, correct me if I'm wrong or if you disagree, but like for me, a lot of your writing, you write, and a lot of times like writing that you really like love or are passionate about absolutely has Heather's voice all up in it, or like really in it. In a way that it's like, you might not necessarily express I feel like sometimes, because this is why stand-up became such a platform for me, because it was like, I have that funny moment, I write it down, I go test it out, right? Like immediately I externalize it, and I get to hear the feedback, and I get to be validated on people laughing at it or relating to my thing. Whereas you, I feel like you have this like beautiful gift to really write in your voice, but then also it's like you like put it out in the world, but without it, it doesn't hurt anyone. It's not at the expense of anyone necessarily, or it's like you're not burdening anyone. Everyone has like the time to read it at their own pace, so to speak. But it's still such an artistic way to like express yourself and use your voice, even though you don't necessarily vocally use. Am I making any
no, you're
sense?
making so much sense. And
unlike me who clearly cannot use her voice right now, but oh my God, she can't stop talking.
Oh my God, no, you're making a lot of sense. No, I mean, like, I feel so intensely. Like, I am really, the older I get, the more I realize how incredibly passionate I am. And like, but yeah, I don't know. I also have Mercury retrograde conjunct Saturn in my natal chart. It's not a very good place for Mercury, but like I need to express. Like, I feel like when you feel all these feelings, you can't just let it stay inside forever. Like it'll, I don't know. I think that's how you like get like sick. Like
that feeling is worse. Like I literally, when I say like I can't do that, and like I make the joke is like as a Pisces, but like truly I cannot do that, because that feeling is so much worse. There's this real existential weird thing, like is exactly kind of what you said, Heather. Even if I didn't have the balls to truly charge it myself. Sorry, I watched Blue Crush recently. The surf movie. If you just have the balls to truly charge it, God, I love those girls. But like there was a part of me that was like, I could die tomorrow and this person could never know how upset they fucking made me. That was the fuel that was like running a lot of my like, I'm not saying it's great, it's just how I operated, but almost in this way of like, I can't I will not be responsible. If someone hurts me, there's, in my very Pisces way, there's this like responsibility to let them know that they're also responsible for some of the weight I'm feeling. Like there's almost this like, because I'm like, you don't know what you've done. You don't know how much weight, how much baggage and weight you've caused me. I'm a Pisces.
Yeah.
This is all like double the regular amount.
Yeah. No.
You're going to carry half?
Yeah.
And I'm going to charge you for my time. Sorry.
I think it shows how much I think it shows a lot of like self-worth when it comes to emotions. I think that like kind of shows that like you value your feelings. I struggle with feeling like my feelings matter, or like if someone hurt me, like it. I know now I'm getting all.
No, but I hear what you're saying.
But like
I
think that, and I wonder if that's something that like Cancer and Scorpio maybe deals with, is like, I feel this way, but like maybe it's wrong, or like I feel this way, or maybe someone won't understand, or maybe, but like I think that's really awesome that you can be like immediately, again, like you were saying, this was years ago, but like I think that does show like a comfortability with your feelings and like a confidence
I hear what
in
you're
them.
saying. Yeah. Right? Or there is always, I'm not saying that I know I'm not saying this. I know I look back and I'm sure I wasn't wrong in like little verbal sparrings or little fights here and there with friends or what have you, or boys, or just like plus ones, things like that. Mom, dad, anyone. Like, I definitely can't claim to be right, but usually if I was getting to a place of being that worked up to stand up for myself to have confrontation, because I also, Heather, to be quite honest, I did not go out of my way to seek confrontation, but if I felt unjustly wronged, it was like a responsibility. Like that confrontation was now out of my hands, even though I was the one causing it, because it was like, a boundary, a line had been crossed, even though I didn't even know at the time I was making a boundary or line for myself.
Right.
But it was almost like this line of like, you did something I wouldn't even think about doing, and now you must pay. Like, so just, anyways, but if anything, I think that's also a lot of maybe where it comes from, if that makes sense. Not so much like there was almost like I've been injustice, or like if I was getting that upset about it, it felt validating as to why, because I wasn't going out of my way to search for confrontation a lot. If I was having it, I think that's why it always felt so like I'm in the right, which of course was biased in me, but because it was like I didn't fight a lot. If that makes sense.
And there's no wrong emotion, and boundaries is a key Pisces word, and that does make sense.
Heather, I could talk about this all day. I know we have to get into the charts.
Yeah, we do.
Well, how about we go ahead and pause here?
Let's
and
pause.
we can still carry on in our Oh, charts today, Heather. Couple of fun ones. A couple
of younger folk.
Couple of younger folk today. What year was... Well, I'll let you go ahead and announce who the first one is.
The first chart we will be covering is one of my favorite musical artists of all time.
Mine too.
C. No, I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, she never
changed her name. She was like, Grimes is dead. We're covering Grimes. As soon as she said that her name was C, I was like, this is not going to, like, you can say that all you want, but that doesn't mean
no, the name is Grimes, and it's already,
come on, it's a great name.
It's great, and the music is literally grimy in a beautiful way,
and it's so ethereal and so Pisces, but it does so have that grimeness.
It's great. And Heather, I think I told you this, but I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast, that for Valentine's Day every year, my boyfriend gets me a Sam. It's so weird calling him my boyfriend because you know who he is.
I know.
Listeners, relax. I'm taken. But Sam, every year we get each other new vinyls for Valentine's Day.
Love.
And this year he got me Grimes, Our Angels, which is my favorite Grimes album. And I'm so happy to have it on vinyl now. And we had some friends come over the weekend, and I made them listen to it. And they were instantly obsessed. I wouldn't say obsessed, but they definitely vibed with it. And one of them was like, this is kind of grimy. And like, just was like, I'm feeling it. And
that's fun.
They really, really, we were playing the first side, and they really, really liked, what was it? Flesh Without Blood.
That's one of my favorite songs of all time. Is it that one I'm
thinking of? Yes, so good. I think it was oh my god, I'm being so annoying, Heather. I'm sorry. 1 second. It's right.
No. We need this information.
Right it was I think it was Flesh Without Blood.
Yeah, I mean that song, that was the song that got me into her, like real well, I guess Oblivion technically. But when I heard that song, I was like, what the fuck is this? This is like amazing.
I think it was Flesh Without Blood. And then I was like, Kill V Mame was coming up. And I was like, this is like her really big one. If you were to compare her to Charlie, which not to compare them, but I was like, this is like her Vroom Vroom, because this person did know Charlie.
Right,
so it was like, I was like, Kill V Mame, I would say. Would you say that, Heather?
But or
in terms of it being her big pop, like her biggest, I want to say that's maybe her biggest like.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I think, for whatever.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say Oblivion, but maybe that's just because like that was such a big song, like when we were in college in our theater program. Yeah. But Kill Me Mame, I think, is probably the one. Like, I have a feeling like people who don't even know who Grimes is
know that
song without knowing it. Yeah.
Right. I to me, it's like her biggest in terms of like a radio hit. Not that's what she's writing for or trying to aim for, but yes, I guess I more meant like in popularity and like, yes. Anyways, but so it's just so funny because I got her just in time for Pisces season. I'm so excited. It's one of my favorite albums. She's such a little weirdo.
She is such a weirdo, and she's
what's her 3?
A Pisces.
Sorry. She's such a Pisces.
She's such a Pisces. She is Pisces, Aries moon, Scorpio rising.
That's right. The Scorpio rising.
So she's so funny because she's like, especially earlier in her career, she was she literally in interviews is like, I don't know, I just kind of fell into this. Like my friends were making music and I thought it looked fun. And so I bought the same equipment and I just started playing around and like I made this album like in my bedroom and yada, yada, yada. And she like literally talks about how she like makes all her music sitting on the floor, which I think is so Pisces. She's like, I can't be in a studio. Pisces. I have to like sit on the floor.
You've like, I've said this, Heather, like you've heard me say this and I didn't even know that was necessarily Pisces related, but that is so like, I even in our little, like, sorry, not to make it.
No. Yeah.
But like, that is just so funny because, the other day in our little, like, I don't go to a traditional office for work, as you know, like where we go is, even where we meet up for like team meetings is sort of like this like lounge area at the venue. And I like someone was like, you can sit in this like chair. And I was like, no, I like prefer the floor. I like concentrate better and I can like be better. And I was even like, when I'm home, whenever I was like home and needed to do homework, it was like a spread out on the floor thing.
Yeah.
So funny.
There's something just about like, being on the floor. I don't know.
The table was so restrictive.
Yeah.
Limiting.
Yeah. No,
very
totally.
Not Pisces.
Very not Pisces.
Sorry.
I agree. Ahead. No, I love that. Also the fact that she's like, she makes the best music. And then she's like, I don't know. Like recently she said that she like, music isn't her priority anymore. Or like she changes her name to C and like none of this stuff sticks, you know? She's just kind of like in the
just in her feels. But
I also
Pisces,
think it's
you gotta wait like 28 days to tweet as a Pisces.
I know, right?
Like you really have to like keep it in the drafts for a minute because
this was in the desert for
might
40
change
days.
That mind. Yeah, it's so funny. Go on.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, that's hilarious. But I also think it's interesting the Aries moon and Scorpio rising thing.
Yeah.
It almost, to me, like tracking her career, it seems like earlier on she like really didn't give a shit about fame. In the song Flesh Without Blood, she's literally like criticizing this guy she liked. She's like, you want money, you want fame. I don't see the same light in you anymore that I used to. And but then like she got with Elon and it seems like that thirst for power was triggered. Like I don't know if he awakened that in her. I mean, it's in the chart, it's in the signs, so it's like there is that
her thirst for power.
Yeah, and maybe that sounds shitty to say it like that.
No.
But yeah, like I like Aries. Well, Aries needs to feel, and Aries moon especially needs to feel its power, but it's like in a fiery. It needs to like feel its potency. It's like what its energy is capable of. And it needs to shine. All the fire signs like need to shine in some capacity. But then Scorpio obviously like likes to have control. I think that's more, I don't know.
That's really interesting. Well, she even has a song. We appreciate power.
Right. I know, which is about like AI, but
but still it is like I the whole Elon and her mashup was so interesting because the whole reason they even started dating in the first place is because he went to tweet
I know
like a joke. I think you might have been the one who told me this, Heather, but he went to like tweet a joke about robots?
the Baroque period, about like
what is that?
About I just know that from there's a joke in Beauty and the Beast about it. Like if it's not Baroque, don't fix it. Like it's that period of time was like the Baroque period. And I know in choir we sang a lot of music from the Baroque period. It's very like I don't know exactly what years it is, but I associate it with like that type of yeah.
And musical theater strikes again.
Right? Yeah. But yeah, they connected on Twitter. Some because joke about the Baroque.
Go tweet a joke, and she had already tweeted the same concept like a few years prior to him about to tweet this, and that's like what made him like reach out to her.
Right.
Yada yada yada. Because everyone's like, she is a power hungry psychopath. She got with Elon Musk. Like a lot of people did start like dragging Grimes a little bit in that way because, and I was always kind of like, that is interesting.
I know.
Just because they also, I mean, they're both a couple of nerds, like a couple of weirdos who are in these very specific genres of like the world, right? But like, it just more was, I was more, and it does make sense how they like met. I'm not saying that she's not popular, but like, where did anyone ever really see Grimes before this or like care? I felt like no one really gave a shit who she was ever dating. I feel like she really didn't date anyone really in the like limelight, and then she ends up dating Elon Musk.
I know.
Who's like extremely in the limelight for also like not a lot of good reasons. And it's obviously, I feel like when they first started dating, he wasn't as amplified as the villain just yet. Like that's definitely more and more stuff has like come out, and he's just said and done more things to vilify himself, rightfully so. But like, I remember he even like, he tweeted something like pronouns are exhausting or like are so annoying or something like that, to have like insinuating like having to use them and think about them was like a pain in the ass for him.
Right.
And Grimes like comment on it like, please delete, please call me.
Yes, I remember that.
Or, like, please delete this. Like, I know this isn't your heart. And people were in the comments like, bitch, yes, it is his heart. Wake up. Like,
I also love that she's like probably tweeting at him from like the 4th floor of their mansion while he's in the dining room, and she's like in the
dining room. Please call me when you get out of the bathroom.
Literally.
Please call me when you get out of the 4th bedroom to the left. That to me it was very, so shocking to see a Pisces sort of be unliked. And I only want to say that from a place of like, I think it's very important to Pisces as a sign to be liked. And I want to clarify that I don't think it's from this place of like schmoozing or like just this like a needy like attention thing to be liked, as much as it's more of like, if Pisces isn't liked by someone, it's like they're failing at something. It's almost like
it's
Pisces
the sign of
is
connection.
Like, yes. Yeah. I think it's very like, if someone doesn't like me, I've connected weird. I've done something wrong. Like I like, call it what you want. But that's for me personally, as again, I'm a Pisces. So like, I feel like that's at least for me where it comes from a lot of the time. It's not so much like people pleasy behavior. Cause like, if someone does me wrong, or if someone's not worth my like likability, or I just like, or like, you know, I just realize like, oh, I actually don't give a fuck if that person, like, I guess I should clarify too. It's more of like, if someone I respect and like it doesn't feel like that's reciprocated. It's very much like, I've failed at a job of mine. That's really, as you say that, Heather, that's really funny, which is extra funny with the next chart we're talking about too, because they're very problematic and always in the limelight for fucking up. And it's always shocked me that person's a Pisces. But regardless, Grimes even just being with Elon, I mean, again, that Aries moon is, you said Aries moon, correct? That Aries moon is very telling too, in terms of like relationship, like not only what seems like a very passionate, like specific, very like once in a lifetime relationship, especially for a couple of like specific people such as Elon Musk and Grimes. But also I wonder if that Aries moon was very much that like fuck all y'all energy in a sense, because it was really interesting watching. I was always kind of like, isn't this extra bothersome to her as a Pisces? Like,
right.
I always was sort of like, oh.
It's interesting too, though, looking at like other celebrities, like we were talking about Rihanna, like even FK Twigs, who has like Venus and a lot of planets in Pisces. Like there is that forgiving and understanding to the point that is like, even if the world, I could see a situation where like, oh, the world hates him, but she still sees him through rose-colored glasses. And then also I'm thinking at the same time, Aries and Scorpio kind of likes the drama a little bit. Like there's you know,
she never wanted attention from her music, but she got that fucking attention from that high profile relationship.
Yeah,
like,
she did. Right.
Way more than she ever got in her music in that sort of rapid time. Not that she doesn't deserve it. I love her shit, but I more just mean like it's an acquired taste. It's not something everyone's just putting on.
She's not making it for the mainstream.
And she's not. And I don't think she wants to be a part of that in a way that like, but her personal life was mainstreamed in a way that her music never was and still hasn't really been because of that. She put out an album after that too that was still, correct me if I'm wrong, but like what I believe to be sort of at the same volume and like interest as her albums prior to that. Previous to that.
Yeah, I think so.
That's interesting.
I just want to like talk about her so much, and I want to bring up her song "Delete Forever" that's like about like
one of my favorites,
someone dying of a heroin overdose and like having sympathy for like people who do hard drugs and understanding that that's like coming from a hurt place. I see the Pisces in her. Like I see and her music is just so ethereal. It's so like angelic. Her voice, she's also a dancer. I have to get back to the chart.
My dad likes her.
My mom likes her.
Yeah, my dad thinks Kill Me Mame's a really good song. He enjoys that video.
Her music is fucking good.
So
like
good.
I think it's the kind of thing.
Talked about a feeling, right?
Yes.
And it's really funny to me again how many Pisces that are really in the famous realm, or like again, a lot of them are artists, but a lot of them, especially on our list, are musicians or singers or like. And it's especially interesting that she produces her own music. So like she writes it. Yes. And we talked about like lyrics being a feeling, but also this like music in itself, like the sounds. And I think there's something so fucking Pisces that she is also the production. Like she's
and
also
Aries. And like it's an independent endeavor for her, and it always has been. And the fact that she is powerful enough on her own, she doesn't need anyone else to help her with this shit. It's like, I think it's so cool. So
you
few
can tell
women
she like came across I'm sorry, Heather.
I was just so few women write, produce, and make and sing their music. I think it's like so admirable. But so few women are given the opportunity to do that much in the first place, but B, talented enough and respected enough in a realm where they're allowed to as well. I know.
So it's really like, and it is extra rare to see a female. I mean, I don't want to call her a DJ, but essentially, I guess it's sort of like, what am I trying to say?
She does DJ. She's a producer.
Because that's as is everything, but extremely in that field. Like truly. It's so male dominated.
Extremely.
So she breaks a lot of like, there's that word again, boundaries, but she does, she sort of like crushes these like, and she's so original with what she's doing. She's not just,
I know.
It's like it would be really less Pisces-ish to me if she was aiming for the mainstream, but it's like not, you don't think you're going to go see Grimes at like EDM festivals. Not that she hasn't performed at them and stuff, but she's not in the same category to me as like Skrillex. Like I don't know is to be put on to like get fucked up and really like, you can absolutely, but it's like, I'm going to go to a Grimes concert. I'm going to do a little shrooms, maybe a little bit of acid. It's going to be gentle and it's going to be beautiful. And I'm going to I'm going to see her levitate with her pointy little goblin ears.
Oh my God.
Her little elf ears levitate up to the clouds. Like, whereas like Skrillex feels like that's very college, or like, and I don't know. I'm saying Skrillex like, cause it's truly the only but like, You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like her music was made for that sort of level of what it is. It's very, which is so funny because I feel like a lot of people don't think that you can find very meaningful music in hyperpop. Would you call her hyperpop?
The hyperpop term is complicated for me because A.G. Cook and PC Music and all those people kind of like originated it.
But then be in a box.
I don't think exactly. So like that's the thing.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think well, so that's a whole. In Leo season, we'll talk about that.
Sorry,
but
no. We could talk about her. But yes,
I mean, I think she's on like the hyperpop playlist on Spotify.
Yeah,
like she is considered in that.
If category. I'm explaining her to someone who's never listened to her before, I would be like, I would for ease would
say no, totally. I would too, I guess. Yeah.
But go on, Heather. Sorry, I know there's more to cover in her chart.
So there's the sun conjunct moon in the 4th house is interesting. There is this sense of like she probably really does love being a mom. The 4th house is Cancer's house. There is like a need to be like at home, but you know, they also Cancer is about birthing something. So like even before she had a kid, she was birthing music. There is this like need to like create. And Pluto in the 12th in Scorpio in opposition to Venus in the 6th. That is screaming Elon Musk to me. This like super faded relationship that brings you into power. There's probably a lot of power dynamics in that relationship. Interesting. And then Neptune in the 2nd house, the planet of music, and the house of like how you make money and security for yourself. Jupiter in the 5th, the planet of luck and expansion in the house of creativity. I mean, it's a nice chart. There's also a ton of trines. So there's a lot of like her planets working together harmoniously. It's really just that Venus in opposition to Pluto that's like the major challenge in the chart. Which now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, I feel like that's Elon. Like, I don't know. It's also like interesting because Pluto in the 12th is, you know, like planets that are in the 12th, you're not really consciously aware of. And so that's interesting that Pluto, the planet of power, is in the 12th, and it took a partner, Venus, it took love to maybe make her aware of that. Wow, my wheels are turning, but I think that's cool.
That's really interesting. Yeah, it is just the relationship was always weird to me just because I was like, but Grimes, you're a Pisces. Don't you know this guy? Like,
I know, right?
Again, I don't know if that's my Taurus rising speaking more. And like where especially with like her, I think what's so funny is that there's sort of this, it feels like Pisces desire to be understood, but then she has this Scorpio rising that has this desire to be misunderstood. Am I?
Yeah, no, that's a great way to say that. Yeah. Totally.
The way Pisces is constantly misunderstood but hates it is the same way Scorpio is constantly misunderstood, but it's like on purpose, and Scorpio sort of thrives in it and really that's like the wall that yes, it's what it wants. It's the wall that it puts up, and it's because it's very Scorpio's very sensitive and can't just say out loud like, I put up a moat because I'm scared, and I only open up for those who really break it down and are worth the time because life's so scary and I put so much energy and have so much emotion that I can't I would literally die if I found out I wasted it on the wrong person. Like imagine, like it really is so funny. Scorpio's layers. Scorpio is truly just one big onion.
It is.
Because that all comes from a place of like intense emotion, but Scorpio would love for you to believe that it's witchy and doesn't give a fuck.
I know.
Anyways, but whereas I feel like Pisces is like desperately like, oh my God, truly no one gets it. Like no one, I cannot articulate this shit correctly. I'm fucking up. I'm failing. Like
I know.
Anyways,
no,
so like that's such a that's really interesting to me. It really is. The Elon Musk relationship is interesting, but Grimes with her music, like overall, you're absolutely right, Heather. Like it's got this like poppy paradise feel almost, but then like a lot of times too, or someone pointed out when I was playing the vinyl, she'll have like really sad words to an upbeat rhythm.
California on Art Angels is a fucking depressing song, and it's like all bubblegum pop.
Yes, literally, it's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, same. I know.
Yeah.
Or she also like
very
often
Scorpio and Pisces.
No, very, yeah. And she has a lot of dark songs, especially on the latest album that feel
Delete
very
Forever
Scorpio.
is so
Oh
sad.
my God, Delete Forever. But it's like beautiful also.
But also really beautiful, yeah.
But
I agree.
yeah, I also just love how she contrasts this like driving bass, like this like really intense beat sometimes with like this like soft, slow, like whispery. Yeah, I could go on and on, but
it's so good. She's incredible.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, I guess we should move on. We could keep tying back into her though, because
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, this next Pisces season again, not that we're like ever bringing anyone on to shit on them, but I do just find this next Pisces, I do like, I want to look at their chart because I have questions. Like I want to understand how. Like it's very, very hard for me to understand. And again, I don't know them, but like it is just more everything they exude in the public eye. For being such a huge famous person is very like not Pisces. So I'm excited to get into this one a little bit.
I don't know. And I kind of do live under a rock, but I feel like I don't know how he's like bad. Or
we'll get into it.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Bieber.
Yes.
No, incredible question, Heather. Sorry. Yes. It's more of not that he's like bad.
Yeah, and
Justin,
I was looking for the right word, but
well, he's the quintessential. No, but I was kind of my demeanor. But he's more the quintessential like child star who got very, very wealthy, very, very young. And got very, very famous. The wealth is one thing, fame is another, and was like the teenage girl, like American girl, like craze of like, you know, she was truly like Harry Styles, but what Harry's going through like now, Justin was going through it like 12, if not younger, just really young. And I think that's got to do a lot of psychological shit, obviously.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But then for a long time, and I know I mentioned something like this, Heather, because I was like, oh my God, he's Libra moon. That explains the Selena fucking drama.
Right.
But for years and years and years, Selena Gomez and him were on and off, like very, like seriously on and off. Like everyone, I think, you know, it was one of those things. It's like, it'll be them in the end. Like it was almost like they were really young, but it was sort of like a Burton, Tim, what is it? Like the Burton and Elizabeth Taylor and what's his name?
I don't know.
Burton to this Taylor.
Tim Burton?
I don't think it's
he's not with us.
No, not that one. Edward.
Okay.
Burton? It doesn't matter. But they were like on and off again forever. And then the rumors are again, because we can't really know this, but Hailey Bieber, her maiden name is Baldwin. She's a part of Alec Baldwin's family. Yes. She's his niece. So her dad is his brother. She's a nepotism baby. Yeah. She's a little nepo baby. She was just always sort of like a fan of she actually, there's like old tweets of her like apparently saying like love Selena and Justin together, like they're the best couple and all this. Like she was always sort of like a fan of Justin's, and then I think just weirdly got to be in his circle with enough time and just from her upbringing and who she is, yada yada. So even Selena came out with this big hit that sort of everyone has now been like, that's about Justin Bieber, like yada yada, and Hailey Bieber getting together, or Hailey Baldwin getting together so quickly. But it's like, I think that Justin sort of maybe had Selena as like a public girlfriend, but like was maybe, I don't know, it does seem like he was maybe with these girls, like when he wasn't with Selena, he was with Hailey, or maybe he was with sort of both of them at the same time, who knows. But he just like, he immediately, him and Selena were like back on, had a breakup, and the rumor based on her song is that within 2 weeks he replaced her with Hailey, and they got married very fast. And like apparently they weren't, it was public that they weren't having sex until marriage, and like it was all this like, and then the Selena fans were pretty brutal, and they're not nice to Hailey, and they chant Selena whenever Justin and like Hailey are together. And a lot of fans, I think, are just very aware of like Justin being, again, no one knows, we weren't in the relationship, but like based on Selena's songs and her expression of her art, it definitely feels like he wasn't the best. Anyways, so that's why I think all in that, there's a lot of like, other than that, Justin just being like Justin, he's kind of just like a little shit. The way he carries himself, the way to me, he carries himself as someone who's been very scarred by the media, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
very hurt by the outside world. To me, he couldn't actually, Heather, as we're talking more about this, to me, he kind of now, I don't think he kind of couldn't scream Pisces more. I think he's very emotional.
Oh, I think so too. I think he's very sensitive.
Obviously, there's like, I think there's a lot of footage of him like actually crying. Like I do think he's in touch with his emotions in that way alone. But then like also like I remember there's like this iconic video of him getting so frustrated with the paparazzi and like holding up traffic to be like, get away from me, to be like just burning mad
at
these paparazzi. And as we're talking about this more too, like his relationship drama to me screams Libra moon, but his demeanor to the outside world and like how is just to me a boy who's trying to like protect himself. Like he's been hurt and burned. And he's a child star. Like, come on.
And he's got that Scorpio rising.
Yeah.
Conjunct Pluto.
Oh, that's right. He has Scorpio rising too. Okay, no wonder the demeanor. Okay. I was like, he's a hurt Pisces. That's what it is. Also, though, he's Scorpio rising. So it's like he's very outward with his hurt. It very has much let us know that we heard him, which like also as a Pisces, that shit's so sad. Like
I know, I kind of feel bad
level
for him,
of our fame. Yeah, no, and like people are complicated. Not everything's black and white. Yada yada yada.
Right,
but, like,
right.
Yeah. No, as we actually are, as we're talking out loud more about this, the more his chart makes like perfect sense to me.
Yeah, the Scorpio rising.
It's so funny that he's a Scorpio rising like Grimes. That's right.
I know. Yeah, with also Pluto in the 12th, but with Justin, the Pluto is right on the ascendant. It's like a degree apart, which gives a faded quality to the fame. I think. I bet there was a transit happening there when he became famous. Yeah, and Moon in the 11th house, needing to be a part of a community. What else is going on? Venus and Pisces. I see Pisces and Libra, like I feel like has to be, I mean, Libra's like the main relationship sign, but like Pisces values like connection so much.
Right.
And Libra,
like I don't
like
view
almost
Pisces, I actually don't view Pisces as a sign that would just be in a relationship. Libra sometimes can strike me as a sign, and or a lot of air signs, honestly. Like me and my, like sometimes like when I have air sign friends, I'm sort of like, how can you date that person? And they're aware it's temporary and they're upfront with that. And they're like, it's probably short. And I'm like, it's so, I can't fathom it, because I'm just like, as a Pisces, I just couldn't even do it. If it was temporary, I couldn't do it. I couldn't put myself through it all. Like
I know.
It's all like, but I think air just is like, because I don't get so into it. I don't let it get so heavy with me, and I'm like, how, God damn it.
I know, I can't.
Anyways, it's just interesting. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
But my point to that was that I feel like the water signs maybe are more picky in their relationships, because water signs, yes, need more of a connection, but air is a little more consistent with like their relationships.
Yes.
Or like maybe in them a little more.
Yeah.
Looking for that connection. That's like how they go about it. Pisces has to feel it. Air has to like search for it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I think Libra in particular like needs it, like values that mirror of another individual, like showing them who they are.
They're like our relationship sign.
Yeah, totally. But also a third house, there's a lot of third house stuff. So there's like this need to communicate, which I guess he primarily does through music. He does write his songs, right? Yeah, I think
he's in the room.
Yeah, you know, he's probably not the main, but
I think he's got some pull.
Yeah. Right. Some second house Neptune and Uranus. Yeah, I mean, in general, it's Jupiter's in the 12th, the planet of luck and expansion in Pisces house. But yeah, I think with this chart, it's more interesting to think about the three signs than it is like the planet or house placements. I'm not getting that much inspiration just from looking at the chart in general, but like it is the Libra moon and Scorpio rising thing is interesting.
It is. It really is. It's Because again, we've talked about this. Like Scorpio really is kind of in its own lane. It's a part of the water sign, yes, but to me, having Scorpio in your chart could completely, it doesn't mean shit if you have other water placements. Or because to me, it's like Scorpio truly kind of is almost its own. It's like almost in its own category. But
totally.
This like Scorpio rising phenomenon is like sort of this like, it feels like that's where his hard exterior comes from. That's where a lot of his like darkness, but like to me, like you get Justin at home and he's a big old soft baby little goofy boy,
right?
but like on the outside world, and again, I'm not a child fucking star. I don't know what that life was like, thank God. But like, so I can only imagine, and everyone who goes through that, it's kind of like, yeah, well, no shit. But so obviously there's like a guard up, but he really like, it affects him. Like he's sensitive to this shit.
Yeah.
It shows. But then it's so funny because the Scorpio is doing like double time to be like, no, it's not showing. And everyone's like, it's showing. No, yeah.
Also funny that he's like, I love the movie Never Say Never, you know, when like I just love it. And there's this scene where like he's at a pizza like joint with his friends, and like before they eat, he's like, wait, let us pray. It does seem like he like does take, I personally am not a huge fan of religion in the conventional sense, but it does seem like he has a really strong, he's very religious, but like it seems like there's a true spiritual connection within him too, which is very
like
Pisces.
he's not just saying the religious stuff for heirs, or
like,
I
think
get
he
in
does.
with the moms. Like it is a part of him. Again, I've talked about this though before, where I don't know if I've said it specifically on the podcast, but like a lot of professional athletes are very religious, and I'm kind of like, you almost have to be at that point. What you're doing is succeeding at what you're doing. Is such a small handful, and the chances of getting to be there in the first place are just like, it's miraculous in itself. That it kind of makes a lot of sense to me why they're just like, I have no other choice but to be religious.
That's a good point.
But very interesting that both, because I don't, him and Grimes could not be more different, but their Scorpio rising is incredible. And I'm not the biggest fan of Justin. I am a fan of Selena Gomez, but I personally just have never super related to Justin's music. I like know the hits, but then I always feel like as a Pisces, I was always kind of like waiting to see like his Pisces side more. And I was like, he is a little charmer. Like, don't get me wrong. He's like a cutie. He's very charming. Like when he's being sweet, but it just like, there's a dark side under there. You can see that. And like, I'm not saying that it's not warranted and doesn't deserve to like be there, but like definitely feels like he's a lot more in tune with it. Just like, I wonder, like the second the door closes type of thing. Whereas Grimes, to me, it feels like a lot of part of her character. But again, we're talking about completely different upbringings. She wasn't she's still not mainstream, so she still probably got to like sort of have a life and still gets to do this on the side. And I don't know how many people are, I mean, I'm sure she gets recognized, but it's still like, anyways. They could not exhibit to me their Scorpio, her Scorpio rising is a lot more mysterious to me. Or not that I don't see it, but it's like more of like it wants to be mysterious, whereas Justin's wants to be hard. If that makes sense. But
no, I agree 100%.
It's just so funny how different these Pisces are.
But I know that they have two of the same signs, but they're like
similar.
so different.
It just manifests itself in different ways. And that's on Pisces. Am I right, Heather? What a time. Heather. Or I meant Grimes. Heather. Grimes. Justin.
Let's all
Miranda.
go on the pod.
Let's all get back on the pod next week. Heather, any other like major movements or red flags that you wanted to point out before we give her a goodbye?
Officially? I'm ready to get into these transits. It's an exciting time transit wise. So
let's do it. Goodness. This episode, Heather, has been a fun one.
It has been. It flew
by.
It's
been loaded.
Me.
Yep. It's been a vibe.
It has
been nice.
Yes.
What do we got coming up in the sky? What the heck is going on out there, Heather?
While we are recording this, it is February 27th. And March literally starts in 2 days.
Yeah, she does.
March is a very active astrological month this year. Literally next week on March 7th, Saturn enters Pisces, which it hasn't been in since 1996.
Yeehaw.
And it's going to stay there for 3 years. If you, like me, were born, in that 1994 sort of region, then you're also going to feel that Saturn return energy extra hard coming up. But again, it's a great time to take your biggest idealistic dreams and bring form to them. And if you're feeling that pressure, take advantage of it, because, now is the time to, like, anything that you've been dreaming, here's our chance to make it real.
Amazing.
And on the same day, it's a full moon in Virgo, which I think is, like, crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because Virgo is, of course, also about, like, loving the work, like being, just like falling in love with the work. And the fact that Saturn's moving into Pisces and we can bring, like, tangible form to our dreams at the same time with this full moon in Virgo. March 7th is a really big day. And
that's huge.
Yes.
Mark your fucking G-cals, folks.
Yes.
That's huge, Heather.
I know.
What
and
a
then
powerful, like,
I know.
What do we do? Should we seance, manifest? I mean, there's just so much. We got a tarot read.
We got a tarot. We got
play the lottery.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And also later in the month, I mean, we'll talk about this more in depth later on, but, like, also in March is the same month that Pluto moves into Aquarius. Pluto stays in the same sign for 10 years.
That's right.
It's huge, major, huge deal when Pluto enters a new sign. And this is all happening in March.
And also, so that's happening after Saturn has entered Pisces?
A few weeks after. But also, I think it's like March 20 something.
What a charge. Like,
right?
What a charge up.
And the new astrological year as we enter Aries. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I just have to say, like, how fucking big March is going to be.
This, like, lineup is. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a lineup.
Yeah. Also, another kind of exciting thing is that this is going to be released on Thursday, March 2nd. But on March 1st, Venus is going to connect with Jupiter. And that's also really lovely and amazing because Venus is the planet of, love and values and harmony and all those nice things. And then Jupiter is the expansive, lucky planet. And when they connect, there's this just feeling of, like, it's really easy to connect with others. You feel especially lovey-dovey. There's an extra charge to whatever you value and an ease with thinking big. Again, this, like, energy of, like, making dreams come true, but in a more Venusian way. So yeah,
wow, I'm so on board.
I know. I feel like I haven't been this excited for, like, a astrological month in a while. I'm really excited. Yeah.
It's just so loaded. Like, literally back to back. That's huge.
Yes.
And I'm so sorry, Heather. You said, so the 7th is when Saturn is entering Pisces. But I'm so sorry. I'm not
Virgo full moon?
Yes. Do you know what day of March that is?
That's the 7th, the same day.
Oh, that's the same day. But then after that is the
Pluto enters Aquarius, like.
That's right. What day is that?
I wish I wrote it down, but it's. I want to say it's March 20 something. It's like a week or two after.
Just curious. All right. I'm, like, wondering what transits are going on during the 19th.
Oh, your birthday! Duh. Yeah.
I'm always just like, are any of those on my birthday that I need to, like, keep an extra special look
We'll look into that right after this. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. No rush. But yeah, that's that's exciting. What a time to be alive, folks. In Pisces season. Oh, baby. Oh, as Justin Bieber would say.
Oh my
God. Justin Biebs, the Beepster, the Beebmeister, Bieber.
Bieber.
Come on the pod. Grimes. I'm not gonna do it.
Oh my god,
I'm gonna respect her.
Yeah.
I've been really, I was telling you this too, Heather, like this is, I've been wanting to listen to music where I get into my little feelies a little bit more.
Yes.
But I've also like, it's so fun listening to a Pisces during Pisces. It's fun listening to any astrological like musician during like their season. Cause you just do feel like you connect with them a little bit more. You're just connecting the season a little bit more. But Grimes is just so Pisces. I mean, I listen to the bitch year round. I'm really in the mood for her a lot. Yeah. But it's so special to listen to her shit during Pisces season. I'm gonna have to.
You've inspired me. I'm gonna listen to some Genesis tonight.
Genesis, critically acclaimed, please.
Oh my god.
I wish it wasn't so late here because I can't really play Archangels. The bass is too out.
Yeah.
in time. I've only listened to it 8, 12, 17 times since I got it.
Yeah.
On the 14th. But yeah. This is quite a time. And even like at the beginning of this podcast, I would say like emotionally, mentally, spiritually, maybe I was like resting right at maybe like a 7, like nothing too like downer, but you know, not quite like a perfect 10. And now I'm definitely in the 9 range. I am quite literally sitting at a 9.
Yes.
This episode was personally so nice for me, especially with a lot of the feels I've been having. And it's like we said, it's like there's been some anxiety, and I have to remind myself sometimes that that's the body's way of being like, hey, you care about this thing that is at the forefront of your mind right now because we're in Pisces season. My mind said all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just been just doing this podcast has made me so much more like I'm ready to embrace this heaviness that I've been feeling. This like this weird like confusing feeling of like I thought I was in Pisces season. I thought I was supposed to like relax, and it's just like it's so fun to also feel like this is maybe the least relaxed that I've felt in a minute, and it's just so extra. I know I'm a Pisces, so there's probably some extra pull, some extra charge there for sure. But it really feels almost like validating how this like light of sort of like responsibility to like get my shit together mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, creatively, all of it. And it's in the middle of Pisces season. It's just kind of it feels funny.
No, I love it.
Plus
and
the other movement we discussed, of course, but
right. And I just it's moments like this that I like really love having a language to, or a compass, a tool,
guide,
like something to attribute this to, a map. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, 100%.
Makes me feel more connected to the universe and myself, and
I handle these topsy-turvy times like I just handle. It's not like that makes them. Well, it does kind of make it easier. And I also just handle it with a lot more ease. More just because of the patience and understanding I have with myself and the outside world of just like, it's a beautiful, beautiful time to be studying astrology, folks, to be embracing astrology. We hope you had fun with this episode. We sure did. We're just having fun this Pisces season. And then some like hard work, actually. What the fuck?
Some work, but the work is fulfilling too.
The work is like, it's the work you want to be doing the most. You can't escape the work, right? But Pisces is like, I'm not trying to escape work. I'm trying to escape boring work or work that doesn't fucking move me. I can't do that. I'm not trying to like, yes. I always make that joke. I'm like, it's not that I don't want to work, even though I could relax. But like, while we're in this capitalist society that makes the world go round, they say, like, again, I'll work, but I better have fun. Like, it better not feel like it in the moment.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly.
Winona snuck up on me. She scared the shit out of me. Heather, I love you so much.
I love you so much. I'm so happy for you right now. And
I'm so happy for you right now. I mean,
infinite abundance.
Infinite abundance forever and always. Happy Pisces season, listeners. Get ready, buckle up. We're just getting started. We're about to just break into this whole new astrological year. Woo! This is at the tip of the iceberg, baby. Love it. Justin Grimes, come on the pod. Listeners, we'll see you here next week.
See you next week.
Bye.